Sunday night football, we called it the Aaron Rodgers revenge game, and here's what we missed. It was also the Jordan Love up yours game, and he showed it last night. Like, there's this moment of Jordan Love saying, hey, y'all said I couldn't do it. Y'all said I wouldn't do it. He said I shouldn't do it. Everybody has stacked for years on Jordan Love, and what did he do? 20 straight completions in this game at one point. He was absolutely electric, and the Packers win this game, and in the process remind us they're a better football team. Today, as of right now, they have a better quarterback playing today. Their future looks better. Like, the Packers are in every way better than the Steelers, and they proved it on Sunday night.
If last night was everything of, yep, that's correct. That is everything that we thought we knew about these teams, but maybe needed a little bit of a reminder. Good on the Packers for dominating an inferior opponent, because that's what the Steelers are at this point. The Steelers are, let's be honest, they're limited. The defense has fallen incredibly short of expectation. Aaron Rodgers and what he can do for this offense is incredibly limited. So the Packers beat up on an inferior opponent the way that I think we've all wanted them to. We've seen peeks behind the curtain of how dominant and explosive, elite this Packers team can look at times, but they've ebbed and they've flowed and they zigged and they've zagged, and it's been a while, it feels like, since we saw the Packers, beat up on the Lions in week 1 or beat up on the Commanders in week 2. It's been a lot of close games against the Bengals when it shouldn't be close, and close games against the Arizona Cardinals when it shouldn't be close, that finally we are starting to see the Packers continue to break through. And we saw that from Jordan Love last night. I mean, look, over 350 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Jordan Love, last week I said, let's not crown Jordan Love the next Brett Favre, the next Aaron Rodgers. Like, let's slow our roll a little bit on crowning Jordan Love the next great one when we see him struggle at times, when we see him sputter at times, when we see those inconsistencies from him, really, which I think is the root of a lot of the Green Bay Packers inconsistencies. We know what Jordan Love is capable of, and we saw it last night. And all I've wanted is to see Jordan Love do that night in and night out and on a more consistent basis. And I still want to see him do it on a more consistent basis. But to see him do it last night was just like, it was so refreshing to me as somebody that believes in Jordan Love and believes in the ability of this team to see it against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was incredibly refreshing to see. And Fitz, one of my biggest takeaways before we get to the Steelers side of things, because I think there's a big story about the Steelers. One of my biggest takeaways last night was, I don't think that there is a single tight end who is more important to their football team than Tucker Kraft is to the Green Bay Packers. 143 yards, 131 of those came after the catch. 131 yards after the catch. That's the third most from any tight end since 2016 in the next-gen stats era. 2 touchdowns. We saw that massive, big 50-plus yard play from Tucker Kraft. We can talk about Travis Kelce and what he means to the Chiefs. At this point in Travis Kelce's career, he's not as important to the Chiefs as Tucker Kraft is to the Packers. George Kittle into the 49ers. Well, he's always banged up, and the 49ers I don't view in the same stratosphere of Super Bowl contenders as the Packers are, as long as they continue to get bitten by the injury bug the way that they are. Show me a tight end more important to the offensive scheme as Tucker Kraft is to the Packers, because he was explosive last night and continues to be an integral part of this offense.
It's a good call by you. And by the way, if you watch Fantasy Football Live, which you should watch every Sunday on Yahoo Sports, he was one of my fantasy picks for the weekend. Turned out perfectly for me. I do want to take a quick victory lap here on the Packers, though, for one big reason. This is my weekly reminder that ties are actually a good thing. I don't think a lot of people realize this. Look at the standings. If the playoffs started today, the number 1 seed, because of the tie in the NFC, would be the Green Bay Packers. Like, the path to the Super Bowl would go through Lambeau if the season started today. If that's not a statement about Matt LaFleur, like, you want to talk about coaches that we sleep on all the damn time? Like, I realize that we love to have our Coach of the Year conversations about the coaches that we love, that, and usually, to be clear, Coach of the Year is a guy that coaches a team that sucks, and all of a sudden they don't suck, and so they get Coach of the Year. But even within this own division, how much time do we spend talking about KOC being a quarterback whisperer? Rightfully so. How much time do we talk about Dan Campbell and the great things he does for the Lions? Rightfully so. People are waiting to anoint Ben Johnson. I don't know if that's rightfully so yet. We'll find out. But in that conversation, you have to at some point turn around and say, man, consistency, LaFleur, a guy that this defense for the Packers is absolutely electric. And then you combine that with the fact that they have one of the best running backs in the league. You just mentioned the importance of Tucker Kraft. They've got some young wide receivers that are explosive all the way. And they have a quarterback that when he plays the way he played last night makes his team look unbeatable. Like, part of this is Matt LaFleur's construction. Part of this is Matt LaFleur's offense. Part of this is the Packers and their defense. But you start looking at the totality of the team, and I think maybe we need to start having a different conversation about the tier of coach that they have, because Matt LaFleur has clearly separated this organization, this team. We talk about the just the ability to constantly put out a quarterback and be successful in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
To me, maybe what we should be talking about is the ability to find a coach that just absolutely resonates with the team the right way, because LaFleur deserves all the credit.
I think this is a great point by you, because I don't think that we talk about Matt LaFleur in the same light as Kyle Shanahan. Now, Kyle Shanahan has been to the Super Bowl. Matt LaFleur has not. But it's not like Kyle Shanahan has a trophy case that with a lot more real estate than Matt LaFleur has. That Matt LaFleur is exactly what you just said, the face of consistency. That Green Bay will always be in the conversation. Green Bay will always seem to hang around. And I felt like early on in Matt LaFleur's tenure in Green Bay, it was probably Aaron Rodgers that got a lot more of the credit, more than Matt LaFleur, which I think is fair. I mean, there was more of a sample size of success from Aaron Rodgers than there was from Matt LaFleur. But it's been, what, 4 years now? 3 years now? However many years since Aaron Rodgers has left the building in Green Bay, and here we are, and Green Bay is legitimately a Super Bowl contender. And now, to your point, the number one seed in an NFC that seems incredibly deep and incredibly competitive. I don't know why we don't give Matt LaFleur enough credit. I don't know why we don't talk about Matt LaFleur in the same light as some of these other offensive gurus. No, he doesn't have a Super Bowl and hasn't been to the Super Bowl. And maybe when Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers finally break through when it matters in the postseason, he'll start to be talked about more and more in that conversation. I think that's really the key. That's what's standing between Matt LaFleur and where he is right now as a consistent coach versus in the elite coach conversation is you have to win and you have to do it consistently in the postseason. But I mean, this Green Bay Packers team, I think, is constructed to do that.
My only pushback is Dan Campbell hasn't been to a Super Bowl. Kevin O'Connell hasn't been to we put him out there. That's but true. Let's look at the other side of this, because the Steelers may have at this point the most disappointing unit in the entire NFL, right? Like, this Steelers defense is a disaster. It's too expensive. Caroline, I think when we look at why the Steelers lost last night, a huge part of it is their defense just flat out sucks, even with some superstars on it.
Is there a more disappointing unit in the NFL? Like, I get it, the Bengals offense is disappointing, but there's a reason for that. Joe Burrow is hurt. And yes, I get it, the Ravens defense is a disappointment, but the Ravens are also banged up. No team in the NFL has spent more money on their defense than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they gave up 360 passing yards to, granted, Jordan Love is a good quarterback, but 360 passing yards, Jordan Love. They gave up 450 total yards to the Green Bay Packers. That the Green Bay Packers defense looked last night like the Steelers defense should look. I mean, the Green Bay Packers got a turnover. The Steelers didn't. The Green Bay Packers were able to get home and sack Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not record a single sack last night. That the way the Steelers team wanted to win games was the defense carried a brunt of the load, so Aaron Rodgers could do just enough to win football games. But Aaron Rodgers can't do more than that because he's just limited at this point in his career. You can't ask a 41-year-old quarterback. I don't care if he's a back-to-back MVP in this league. You can't ask a 41-year-old quarterback to do too much. This Steelers defense is wildly disappointing based off of expectation and based off of investment. The secondary is absolutely atrocious. The defensive front, I mean, how much money are they investing into the defensive front, and they weren't able to get home last night? I mean, this Steelers team will ebb and flow as the defense goes, and if the defense looks how it looked last night, I don't think the Steelers team is going to make the playoffs. And you look at the standings, if the Ravens keep winning and the Steelers keep losing, and if the Ravens get Lamar back and the Ravens have an easy schedule down the stretch, I mean, yes, absolutely, there's a path where the Steelers fall out of the top spot in the AFC North.